Hi, we're here in Brazil, in Santos, at the third Giftival, and I'm Alpha Low,
And I'm Madhusudan.
and we're going to discuss gift culture today. So Madhu, how did you get started in gift culture?
Many ways, but I think primarily as a kid, growing up, I think one of the major influence on me was my grandfather, I learned about gift seeing it as a way of life from him. But primarily recently, when I was studying in US, I was in a film school and somebody gifted me this camera, and it came with a smile card which says somebody has anonymously tagged you. And till today, I don't know who gave that camera to me.
Wow.
And all it said, you can just share it forward, to share your life or your gift forward. And it was a $3,000 worth camera. And nobody believes it. My father does not believe me, but it's true. And I took that camera, came back to India, and started traveling and sharing stories around gift, around people who were of different communities. So that was one of the major incidents, is to trust life and to start seeing everything as connected.
And that happened before you were really immersed in the gift culture? You got this camera? Or?
Yes, much before this was just after I had finished my film school, 10 years back now. And after that I came back and from US to India and started working with different communities and around gift in small ways, and then in a bigger way then slowly.
Cool. And you got one of the smile cards?
Yes, I don't have it right now, but I would be happy to show you.
Yeah, do you want to explain a little bit how the smile card
it's
works?
just a small smile card which has a smiley face on it, and it says you have been anonymously tagged by someone you don't know, and all you can do is share it forward. You have been tagged with an anonymous act of kindness, and you can just share it forward in whatever small ways you can, and it's just a small ways of making someone's day. You could just not even just give camera, but you could put some flowers on someone's desk or write a kindness note for someone and leave it behind without them knowing that you did that. So what it does is it's a chain of kindness. It creates a chain of gratitude and generosity, which somehow you believe that if you do for someone, that will do for someone else, and that will do for someone else, and somehow it will come back to you. And it does, because we are so interconnected in nature.
Cool. So when you got the smile card and it says do something else for someone else, what did you do for the next?
So the best way I thought I could do is share my gift. So my gift was to share stories. So I came back to India and I started traveling, meeting different people who were doing act of service in their life, who had dedicated their life for service. So taking the interview, putting them online, and sharing that with people.
Nice, cool. Yeah, and I've heard this smile card is described as a currency. So just say you buy someone dinner, someone across the way their dinner, and you can tell the waiter pay for their dinner and then give them this smile card.
Yes.
And then they might then go do something else. So it works almost like a currency, but it's a different type of currency, because usually if you do something, then someone else gives you money. In this case, you do something, but you give that person the currency, and then but it still flows in a very interesting way. And that flow of gift is the current.
Yes.
That this kind of new money or anti-money.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like moving from transaction to trust. So in the original currency, you are transacting, and it's saying, okay, you give me this, I'll give you this. And so basically we know price for everything, but do we really know the value of that thing? So I think with this, it allows us to move beyond transaction. It helps us to trust our own self and each other. It says, if I do something really from my heart, that and in whatever small ways, that it will come back to me. And in that trust keeps us going. It keeps us, taking that next step.
Yeah, I've heard you described as a transaction to trust, and there's four different.
There are four different
one
shifts.
of them.
Yes,
so what are the four other ones?
So the four shifts I learned in the gift culture in my community is the first one is when we live in the gift, it helps us to move from isolation to community. So a lot of times we feel very isolated in doing our own experiments, but when as a gift, it helps us build a community around us. It helps us to relate with each other.
Yeah, I think what I've discovered with the gift, is the gift gift economy creates more community, and then more economy then creates gift economy.
Exactly.
And it's this really kind of beautiful cycle when it happens. Yeah.
Because it helps us to see that we all as one family, as one larger family. So it helps us create a relationship. So one is from isolation to a community. Second is from scarcity to abundance. So often, no matter how much we have, we always feel scarce. It never feels enough. And but as we start living, we start trusting, we start living in gift, we feel abundant, with whatever we have. And how can we have this sense of abundance? And so it's really important shift which happens, as we start doing that. So scarcity to abundance, because if you don't have enough, your community will take care of you. And that takes time to build that trust, because the community is just not the people around. It's also the extended family. It's also the nature is your community. It's somehow, so it's all become part of one larger family.
Yeah, when that flow of services and goods happens more, then that actually is the abundance.
Yes.
And that requires a bit more of a trust and like giving, and because money is like this almost this one way direct flow, and sometimes people hoard it, but if we open up to that gift, then we'll be in more of that abundance.
So that's true. And so scarcity to abundance, isolation to community, and the fourth one is consumption to contribution. So instead of like being in a situation where always we see like how can I consume, it's the question to sometimes to ask ourselves, how can I contribute? And that creates a shift, because when we start thinking of contribution, again automatically we feel abundant. We feel that whatever we have, it's just not the material capital, but there's a spiritual capital, there's a social capital. So there's a different kind of capitals you tap into, and that's we start like, how can I contribute from that space? Can I just be with you, or can I just maybe give a hug, or can I give a smile, or can I be with my presence? So there are different ways of contributing. So how can we start moving towards that, instead of consumption towards contribution?
Yeah, and that sounds really important in this time where it seems like we're becoming more and more consumers, more and more branded products. And how do we shift to the next phase, which is like contribution?
To the contribution. So I think these 4 shifts, and it's a time go back and forth, and there's not anything right and wrong, but it helps us to feel more wholesome and connected with our own self and with each other. As more and more we practice that, and as we practice, the more we get into that.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.